Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmate. I'm here to discuss about the facilities, maintenance, enhancement, and development, mainly about safety and maintenance assessment. I'm Kristel S.J. Canlas, the discussant of the day. Educational facilities is said to be focuses on the safety and the maintenance of educational assessment for the basic education. Every teacher or school official should recognize that the welfare of the pupils or the student in school is his first and foremost concern and responsibility. Hence, the educational facilities program should include adequate provision for ensuring safety in school against natural and man-made hazard. The question is, how do we make the school safe? How do we make the school safe? Children are taught disaster risk reduction measure in school as part of elementary and secondary school curricula. The objective is to foster awareness and better understanding about the immediate environment in which the children and their families live. The basic education curriculum used in informal education prescribe disaster risk reduction and learning competencies required of every children to learn before passing the basic education. These have become the basis for the preparation of the learning exemplar or lesson plan to be used by the teacher in teaching disaster risk reduction concept to the school children. Since the school building are used as a venues where teaching and learning activities takes place, then school building needed to be safe. There are different strategies used by the Department of Education to maintain a safe school ground. So, before we proceed with that, we should familiarize ourselves about Educational Facilities Manual, which is a revised edition of the 2007 handbook. So, on this part, you will see that there are different stakeholders which has a very vital role in maintaining the safety of the educational facilities. They are the government, the UN and other international local organizations, educators and professionals, communities and school, parents, as well as the children. Under the DRRM, it also covers the proper location of site, whether it is safe to build a school, and also the environment, which will be discussed by the next reporter. So basically, if we're going to focus with the government, so our government or the national government should commit the training of teachers and the development of curriculum to support large scale of teaching of disaster risk reduction, as well as to be updated about what is going on the community. Because this concept may be adopted in future in building a school building construction to ensure the best technologies are used to mitigate geological and meteorological hazard in various areas of the country. While the United Nations and other international organizations have vital role to make schools safe for the school children through the education in emergency. The education cluster proved to be quick win solution for the government to improve the humanitarian assistance to affected population during emergencies, while the educators and professional, the loss of life, injury and disruption of education in normal child and adolescents develop caused by both natural and human induced hazard. are indication that more professionals and educators should seek out more direct and rapid ways to assist in raising the level of awareness of parents, policymakers, community leaders, and the children and youth on how to respond properly to hazard. Impart knowledge which are important to sustainable human development, peace, justice, and safety. On the other hand, communities and schools have the most important role in ensuring safety of every individual. Each entity can influence to a certain extent even beyond traditional form of regional development, from cultural to economical, informational, and environmental. Recognizing this role, each entity needs to strive to improve the quality of educational facilities, capacity building of human resources, and securing financial basis to improve the adequate education and facilities must be considered in the process of formulating education policy. While the parents, on the other hand, can influence decision-making of school administrator in keeping schools safe through the Parent-Teacher Community Association, parents are very active in providing their time, resources, and effort to make school ready for the opening of classes on voluntary basis. During PTCA meeting, youth learn about safety and hazard. Discussions focus on awareness and hazard on how the children and school may be protected. While the children participation is very important or significant factor in disaster risk reduction. First, the activeness being undertaken will directly benefit them through realization of their basic right. This is also based on the premise that today's children are tomorrow's adult citizens. What they learn about safety today significantly contribute toward the development of disaster risk resilient communities. So those are said to be the very important functions or roles of the stakeholder in maintaining a safe educational facility for basic education. If they are going to do their job or their task in maintaining a safe ground or a safe educational facility for students, the teachers, and the community, then we can say that we have an enhanced and developed educational facilities. Under 2010 Educational Facilities Manual, a revised edition from 2007 handbook, wherein on this edition, integrating disaster risk reduction in school construction was added. That is the reason why organizing a school disaster or risk disaster management is very important in every school. The organization of a school safety program shall be established in an environment where the tools and machines are safe and manned by safety-conscious individuals who will perform safe operation and processes. Machines, equipment used in trade and vocational schools shall be with signage using yellow lines to cautions bystanders. The safety measure shall be a cooperative activity among the school administrator, teachers, student, and the pupils. As mandated by the Department of Education, every school shall have an organized disaster risk control group which shall take charge of overall disaster reduction program. The following is the suggested organizational structure of a disaster risk control group, starting from a chairman up to the different operating teams. So having your disaster control group organization, your chairman or the school administrator should coordinate with the local disaster coordinating council pertaining to initiate, formulate sound policies and procedure, then assign safety conscious staff members to implement said policies effectively, conduct effective in-service training activities for teacher and community assemblies for parents, provide safety training or drills exercise for staff and pupils or students, involve parents and adult volunteers in safety campaigns. Also, the administrator should keep a record of pupils or student accident, date, causes, and preventive measures, as well as organize a safety committee or team in different levels such as calamity, disaster and fire control group, safety committee, junior policy, MKB Tanod, KD Junior, fire malls, etc. Provide responsible security guards through the local government if possible. So, this thing should be coordinated by the school administrator to the local disaster coordinating council. This is to maintain or create a safe environment for everybody inside the school and outside the school premises. Once the school administrator coordinated to the local disaster coordinating council pertaining to providing a safety training or drills and exercise for staff and students, and also organizing a safe committee in different levels such as calamity disaster up to junior fire marshal. So this time, the implementation process will be done by the disaster control group organization within the school vicinity. Then afterwards, the disaster risk reduction and management will send reports through this URL for earthquake drill, for fire drill, and other DRRM drills. The DRRM use an incident report form which serve as the assessment tool in determining a safe environment for the student as well as the teacher and the community. So let's click this one. Okay, so this is a comprehensive school safety monitoring checklist. So this is the school monitoring checklist used by the Department of Education pertaining to the disaster risk reduction and management reports. So that is what it looks like. So you will see there's a headings, then disaster risk reduction and management monitoring tool. So this is the tool they use in assessing a safe school environment for student, teachers, and the community. So we have here the name of the school, school ID. Then we also have the address, name of school head, name of the RRM coordinator, the district, date visited and inspected, school contact number, email address, then the contact number of the DRRM coordinator. Then we also have different key areas, which is the focus of this monitoring tool. There are different criteria under different key areas. So we have different indicators. Then they use different verbal interpretation pertaining to different indicators. Then there are remarks. So we have the first enabling environment as the first key area. The first key area contains 11 indicators. The first one are the different laws or DepEd orders or Republic Act up to regional memorandum, which the the school should follow. Then, if ever they follow these laws or adopted them, then they will check whether it is strongly evident, moderately evident, and not evident. Whichever the verbal interpretation is, they should put the remarks why it is moderately evident and not evident, or strongly evident. Then the second indicator is the DRRM focal person, or the DRRM coordinator, which is assigned by the school head. Then the third one, form school DRRM team consisting of personnel from different offices, chairman, with defined membership and roles and responsibility. So the one you see earlier, those are said to be the team consisting of the different person under DRRM team. So if the school have that, they have to put strongly evident. Then the third one is the form school DRRM team. Then we have school budget support, regular DRRM programs and activities. So on this part, the school should have enough budget in making a regular DRRM programs and activities to make the student aware about any kind of natural disaster that may occur. Then the fifth indicator, integrated DRRM in the Enhanced School Improvement Plan. So that is ESIP. So the School Improvement Plan should include the DRRM, integrating it. Then conduct student-led school watching and hazard mapping, involve student in DRRM planning. Then the seventh indicator is incorporated result of student-led school watching and hazard mapping in the school DRRM and enhancement. Then 8. The data collection and consolidation of the programs and activities in DRRM, covering 3 pillars to monitor result and impacts that exist. So that is the 8th indicator for enabling environment. Then the 9th indicator, rapid assessment of damage report, is submitted to central office within 72 hours after onslaught of a hazard in the area. If ever there is any natural disaster happened, it must be reported immediately to the central office. Then if the school did that, then they can check which interpretation or verbal interpretation best suited it. Then 100% completion rate of DRRM related question in EMIS and EVIS. Then school has partnership that could be tapped to support its DRRM program and activities, including those after a disaster. So stakeholder is very important on this part, the 11th indicator. So the school should have a partnership with the community or other organization to help them or support them pertaining to DRRM programs. So those are the 11 indicators pertaining to the first key area, which is the enabling environment. If we're going to focus on indicator number 8, data collection and consolidation of programs and activities on DRRM, covering the 3 pillars to monitor result and impact exist. So basically, the remaining key areas pertaining to the 3 pillars, which are the DRRM implementation through the 3 pillars, is closely linked to the SIP. practical step to apply this relationship are translated in 4 steps. So basically, those steps are step in implementing school DRRM. The first one, step 1, is to assess, know your risk. Then step 2 is to plan, reduce your risk, prepare to respond, and ensure education continuity. Then the step 3, implement your plan. Then step 4, monitor and evaluate, then report. So the one that I've showed you earlier from the slide, those are the places wherein after monitoring and evaluating, then the DRRM will report on that URL to the Department of Education. So what are those 3 pillars? So basically, the 3 pillars are safe learning facilities, school disaster management, and disaster risk reduction in education. Then the school improvement plan has 3 phases. The phase 1 is to assess, the phase 2 is to plan, and the phase 3 is to act. So if you're going to notice that they are really proportional to the step in implementing school DRRM. So on this part, if it is pertaining to the safe learning facilities, the second key areas under this monitoring tool, which is the first pillar pertaining to the indicator number 8 under the first key area. So that first safe learning facilities basically is first to follow the four steps: assess, plan, implement your plan, monitor, evaluate, then report. Then under this second key areas, one of the pillars, there are about 9 indicators if a school is said to be safe learning facilities. School building were being properly inventoried usually by the custodian. If done, to check if it is extremely evident. Then number 2, is the school conducted risk assessment of building in coordination with physical facilities coordinator and other support agencies. If the school do this, conduct risk assessment of buildings, like for example, if the buildings are too old, then they should coordinate with physical facilities coordinator. If it is subjected for demolition or subjected for repairs. Unsafe school building were identified. Okay. After doing the second indicator under the first pillar, then the school should be able to identify which building from the school is not safe to use. Then the fourth one, school has taken appropriate action to unsafe school buildings, upgrade, retrofitted, repaired, non-usage, etc. So after determining unsafe school building, then the next thing that the school should do is to have or take appropriate action pertaining to unsafe school building, whether it should be repaired, it should be upgraded, or non-usage. Then the fifth one, after that, conduct regular inspection and maintenance of facilities. So on this part, state how often the school do it. Put that on the remarks. Undertaken regular repairs of classroom, including facilities. Then if they undertake regular repair, then that's the 6th indicator. Then role and responsibilities for maintenance are defined, documented, and assigned. So the eighth indicator for safe learning facilities, number 1 pillar, school head has identified classroom building to be used as an evacuation center in time of disaster. Okay, so the school head should be able to determine which is the best evacuation center to be used in case of any natural disaster happened. Then, like for example, this present time, we are experiencing a pandemic pertaining to COVID-19. If ever a certain school will be tapped by the LGU pertaining to a best facilities, not evacuation, a best facilities for the patient who is PUM or PUI or under monitoring, the school head should know if there is available classroom or building to be used. Then the 9th indicator, the school head are clear with the role and function of the school in camp management vis-a-vis the LGU and the SWD as per guidelines on evacuation center coordination and management, Children Emergency Relief and Protection Act, and its corresponding implementing rules and regulation. Okay, then the 9th one, so basically this is the one that is very applicable nowadays. So the main role of the school head is basically to be clear with the roles and function of the school camp management. Then specifically for Emergency and Relief Protection Act, and now that we are experiencing a certain pandemic pertaining to COVID-19. So the question there is, do you think your school is good to be used for children's emergency relief and protection or for corresponding implementing rules and regulation? So that's the thing about that. So next, let's proceed with the 2nd pillar, school disaster risk management, and also the 3rd indicator, having 11 key areas, having 11 indicators. So school disaster risk management has a contingency plan, preparedness plan turned into a response action when a disaster strikes. So meaning to say, the school should have plan B or plan C if ever a disaster strike. Then the school has available, accessible, and adequate first aid kit in every instructional room. So the school should have the adequate material needed, especially first aid kit. Then the school has at least 2 necessary and functional equipment in case of a disaster: fire extinguisher, handheld base, radio, generator, and etc. Then the 4th indicator for school disaster risk management, if they are able to manage any kind of school disaster, the school should have identified space for putting up temporary learning spaces, shelter in the afternoon mat of disaster. Then the 5th one, school has already resumption of strategies and alternative delivery mode to ensure education continuity. Then the sixth one, school has ensured that student completed the family earthquake preparedness homework plan, and the school has reported the completion to the division and central office. This one, it is usually done to, from their subject from DRRM. Then school has established a school personnel tracking system protocol in the event of disaster. So they should be able to determine where can they locate their school personnel. Then the school has trained personnel to administer first aid to student and personnel. If ever there is any kind of accident, there should be a trained person for us to determine if the school is prepared or they can manage any kind of disaster. Then 9, the school has psychosocial intervention for personnel and student. Then school has trained teachers and other personnel who could provide psychosocial support to the student. So basically, number 8 and number 10 are directly related. If ever there is no person available, the teacher itself can be trained as the person who can provide psychosocial support to the student. Then the last one, not the last one, we have school DRRM plan and SIP with DRRM integration were reviewed annually. Then it should be reviewed if they are congruent with one another. Okay, school has established functional early warning system to inform student and personnel of hazard and emergencies protocol considering national and LGU warning system and protocols. Usually, during earthquake drill or fire drill, the student are aware if they hear a certain bell or how long is it that signifies an early warning. Then indication number 3 under school disaster risk management. Number 13, school conducted regular hazard specific drills, at least 3 hazards with participation of stakeholder, BFP, medical, LGU, NGO, community, PTA, alumni, and others. Okay, so usually there is earthquake drill or fire drill which is done within the school. Then it should be reported to the URL I have given earlier. Then the 14th indicator is the school has an evacuation plan and procedure. If ever any kind of natural disaster happen, then the school should have an evacuation plan. Where will they run if ever there's an earthquake, if there's a landslide? So everyone should know that after a certain drill have done. School has a student family reunification plan that is clearly disseminated to student, teachers, and parents. Then school has conducted awareness and capacity building for families and learners. Then the last one, the school participated in the different DRRM, CCA, EIE activities of the LGU. So those are the 17 indicators for the first pillar under school, second pillar under school disaster risk management. So on that area, it tells us or it measure or it assess whether the school is prepared in any kind of disaster that or natural disaster that may happen, if they are ready, if they can manage. So those are the things about that. Next, and the last one, the third pillar, the disaster risk reduction in education, which has 8 indicators. So disaster risk reduction in education pertains to the first indicator, School has integrated key DRRM, CCA, EIE concept in at least 4 subjects based on the National Curriculum Guide or Lesson Plan. So, meaning to say, it should be taught to the student the concept should be taught to the student from different 4 subjects that they are studying, that the student are studying. Then, the second indicator, grade levels and subject where DRRM and CCA been integrated. So, basically, it should be included in the subject. More than 75% of the students are actively participating in various DRRM, CCA, EIE, or activities. So, anything related with this, students should participate, must participate. School has a DRRM or CCA, EIE capacity building plan for teachers and personnel. Then, the school head and personnel have received at least 3 DRRM trainings from the division or region or the partners. At least more than 10 DRRM resource materials are available in the school. Presence of DRRM corner with updated ICE material posted in it in every classroom. School carries out, monitor, and evaluate to assess sustainable implementation. So basically, under this disaster risk reduction in education, it focuses on the integration of risk reduction in the curriculum and also in the school vicinity. Okay, then those are said to be the 4 key areas under this school safety monitoring checklist to determine if the school is a safe place for everyone. Then at the lower part, you will see comments or suggestions, then the person who monitored, the name, the position, the signature, and the contact number. Then confirm the school head, name the school head, signature of the school head, the RRM coordinator, and the signature of the DRRM coordinator. So all in all, those are the content of the disaster reduction and management monitoring tool used by the Department of Education in determining whether the school is or the educational facility is safe for the student, the teacher, and the community. Okay, then now after learning about the school safety monitoring tools used by the Department of Education and knowing the step in implementing school DRRM, which is the first step is to assess, the second step is to plan, the third step is to implement your plan, then the fourth step is monitor and evaluate, then report. The one you see on the screen are the areas or the URL from the Department of Education, wherein when you are on step 4, those are the URL you will go to report. I will show you what it is what do they look like. So just remember, we have 4 steps in implementing school DRRM. First step, assess, know your risk. Then step 2, plan, reduce your risk, prepare to respond, and ensure education continuity. Then the step 3, implement your plan. Then the fourth one, monitoring and evaluation. Then reporting. So let's see what does the URL looks like when the DRRM chairman or coordinator do the reporting. The one you see on the screen is the website for the DepEdRizal.ph, wherein the disaster risk reduction and management report will be sent. So let's say a school did an earthquake drill. So the DRM coordinator will report on this URL. If we're going to click that, you're going to see this earthquake drill, SDO Rizal earthquake drill evaluation form. So this is the evaluation form pertaining to earthquake drill. Email address of the school, the district, the school ID. Then let me zoom it so you can see it properly. Okay, so I guess you can see it clearly. So there is school ID, there is the name of the school, date conducted, the earthquake drill, time conducted, the earthquake drill, number of participants, school and teacher, non-teaching, involved stakeholder, any untoward incident happened during the drill, then link to a photographic report uploaded in cloud, so picture taking, then the evaluation form. So the evaluation form, the verbal interpretation from evident to not applicable. So the DRM coordinator will answer this. Then other comments and suggestion, name of SDMC coordinator, then contact number, then they will submit. So this is what it looks like pertaining to where the DRRM send reports. Next is for fire drill. If the school will conduct a fire drill, they will go to this URL, then they will see an evaluation form for the Department of Education pertaining to Division of Rizal, district, school ID, school name, date conducted. So almost the same with the earthquake drill, any untoward incident, link of photographs. Then next, I can't do next because there are required places to answer. Okay, then aside from that, there is other DRRM drills. If the school conducted other DRRM drills, so this is the for drill report. So same thing, what drill is it, involved, any untoward, so almost the same. So so that is what it looks like. Okay, so I guess that is the thing that we have to determine or to know where to report for us to be safe in school. Then now let's proceed with the Brigada Eskwela 2020. So this is the most common thing pertaining to the maintenance of the educational facilities. So Brigada Eskwela happen every school year during the month of May, before the opening of classes. So basically, Brigada Eskwela is purely voluntary effort whereby the principal and teacher in charge are encouraged but not required to organize a local school maintenance week. Parents and local volunteers at the school level come together for 1 week or 5 days in May before the start of the school year in order to do minor repairs and maintenance of school facilities to get the school ready for the start of the school year. The PTA or LGU, local school board, and the local private sector contribute resources in the form of cash, kind, time for the maintenance and minor repair of the school. So that is Brigada Eskwela all about. So, in terms of the maintenance assessment, we're just going to focus with uh, minor or a school maintenance week, which is the brigada eskwela. So, how do we do it? So, this maintenance usually minor repairs, minor preparation. Brigada eskwela can handle that. However, if it is a big problem, like a very old building, that is handled by the DRRM. Okay? Next, so Brigada Eskwela, or the National School Maintenance Week, is a nationwide initiative by the Department of Education, which hopefully it will help in maintaining a school facilities that is safe for the student, the teacher, and the community. So, the DepEd mobilizes thousands of parents, alumni, civic groups, local businesses, non-government organizations, teachers, students, and individuals who volunteer their time and skill to do repairs or maintenance work and clean up of public elementary and secondary school. This nationwide caravan is held simultaneously across the countries in 16 regions. So, sometimes this brigada eskwela is a source of fund of the school, but this is also one way of maintaining our educational facilities. So, during brigada eskwela, there are different forms accomplished by the brigada eskwela coordinator, from Form 1, which is physical facilities and maintenance need assessment form. So this, we're gonna focus on this part. It will shows how do DepEd assess the physical facilities and how do DepEd maintain the needs of the physical facilities. Then the V form, school work plan. Then the VE form 3, resource mobilization form. Then form 4, daily attendance of volunteers. Then form 5, donation received. Form 6, daily accomplishment report. Then form 7 is the school accomplishment report. Okay, so we're going to go with school form 1. So this is the assessment form used by the brigada eskwela. Okay, let's see it. So this is the one on the screen. This is the brigada eskwela form 1 used in assessing the physical facilities and maintenance needed for the school. So that's the overview. So let's look deeply. So we have the instruction: conduct an ocular inspection of the school facility listed school physical listed below, then provide the needed information to facilitate the improvement to be done on these identified facilities. If needed, you may use separate form for each classroom or the school facility. So basically, the instruction there is to do an ocular inspection of the school physical listed below. So what we have here is the facilities pertaining to roofs or gutter, ceilings, wall, blackboard, chair, water facilities, drainage, signage, school garden, lighting, window, doors, comfort room, school grounds, school canteen, school fences, wall, electricity, alternative gate, references, materials, and laboratory equipment. If you are going to notice, under this assessment form, it is very specific which to inspect. Unlike the one that I've discussed under DRRM, it is a general or it is big pertaining to buildings, Unlike in here, it is more specific. Okay? So those are the facilities needed to be inspected. So they have to determine the condition, whether it is satisfactory or unsatisfactory. Then remarks, if it is unsatisfactory, describe the problem. So meaning to say, if ever the answer is unsatisfactory for the ceiling is broken, then they have to describe the problem. The nature of improvement needed, repair, repaint, replace. So they should be specific, like for the roof, let's say the roof is broken, so it needs repairs. Like the blackboard is not usable, so it needs replacement. Then the other part is the material resources needed, indicate kind and quality. So what are the things needed to replace or to repaint or to repair? Then manpower needed, indicate the quantity and the nature of labor services needed. Okay, whether it is for professional or even for a common worker, so you should put in here. So those are said to be the things included in here. Then prepared by the school physical facility coordinator, date of inspection, then the school head. So basically, this is the assessment tool used for the physical facilities and maintenance needed in the school. Okay, so next, let's proceed with school work plan, or the Form 2. So after knowing the assessment form used for brigada eskwela pertaining to physical facilities and maintenance needed, so under Form 2, you will see the different CRA, advocacy and marketing, resources mobilization, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, then reporting. Then the activities, timeline, persons responsible, materials needed, then budget. So it is somewhat related with Form 1, or the assessment form that is needed to report to the division office. Next is Form 3, the resource mobilization form. So what the Form 3 included, it has the instruction given using the completed BE Form 1 physical facilities needed assessment as basis, summarize the resources or the materials and manpower needed and list down the potential source or partner to be tapped, and additional sheet if needed, the status and the remark columns, and be updated. So what we have on the table, materials needed, quantity, key person, organization to be tapped, strategies or plan of action, person responsible, status, then remark. So then labor or skilled volunteers, quantity, same thing up to the remarks. Then resource mobilization committee chairperson should prepare this, noted by the school head. Then for our Form 4, daily attendance, so this is daily attendance of the volunteers, name, position, designation, address, then contact number, time in, time out, signature, total number of hours served, nature of volunteer services and rendered. Because we can give them a certificate of appreciation, and then for the teachers volunteer, they can acquire service credit for rendering their time during the brigada eskwela. Then we also have Form 6, Form 5, which is for the donation. So item or materials, quantity, date received, name of donor, assumption cost of item per unit, and total. So that is the BE Form 5, basically for the donation, whether in kind or in cash. Then for Form 6, daily accomplishment, so we have a week of maintenance for the school. So it should be accomplished. This BE Form 6 is for the daily accomplishment. Activities completed, whether painting, repairing of blackboards, or the roofs, whether it's completed, started but not yet completed, or not done. Then remarks or recommendations. So that's what it has. Then for Form 7, which is the school accomplishment report, then this is the division office, the school address, the region, the school ID, then level, elementary or high school, type of school, central, non-central, multi-grade, primary, integrated, school head, and the PTA president. So this one is it has also a scope of repair and maintenance work and completed. I will show it to you. Okay, so this is the BE Form 7. So BE Form 7 consists of the school accomplishment report for the maintenance week. So we have to indicate the school, the name of the school, the division. So that's what it looks like. Okay, then we have on part A, scope or repair and maintenance were completed. So those are the things from specific parts or physical facilities. So what was done. Then for part B, donation of materials and resources. Type of donation, whether in kind or in cash sources, then estimated costs. Then we for part C, volunteer services, the person who volunteers from day 1 to day 6. Then for part D, estimated cost of volunteer service entered. So number of volunteers, total number of hours rendered, total estimated cost. Then for part E, significant event or experiences. What happened? Who were involved? When? Then what is or what are the important contribution to the operation of the school or to the existing school? So these are the things that the school should report. There is also a lesson learned. Suggestion to strengthen brigada eskwela projects. Then prepared by the school head. Then date. So that is basically the accomplishment report for brigada eskwela, which is for the maintenance of the school. Then the thing that I have explained earlier is pertaining to maintaining the educational facilities. Now, the thing that I have discussed earlier are pertaining all to the assessment tool used by the Department of Education, specifically the Division of Rizal. So, the two assessment tools that the Department of Education use are the School Safety Monitoring Tool and this BE Form 1 Physical Facilities Maintenance Need Assessment Form for us to determine if the school is safe for the student and for everyone. So I do hope you learn about the tools that the Department of Education use pertaining to the safety and maintenance assessment tool. Thank you so much. If you have any questions about my report, just comment down below and I will be happy to answer your question. Let me end this report by saying a quotation from Joe Direl. At the end of the day, the goals are simple: safety and security. Thank you so much, classmate, and ma'am. Keep safe. Goodbye.